In today's video, the referee's report from the Spanish Super Cup final is revealed, along with the length of the suspension for Frenkie de Jong. Raphinha responds to Perez and confirms his dominance in El Clasico. An unexpected comment from Messi about Barcelona's Super Cup victory and what Mbappé did. Before we begin, don't forget to share your opinion in the comments. Did Barcelona deserve to win the final? And if you're a football fan, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it. The referee's report from the Spanish Super Cup final is revealed, along with the length of the suspension for Frenkie de Jong. Referee José Luis Munuera Montero, who officiated the Spanish Super Cup final between Barcelona and Real Madrid, revealed the details behind the sending off of Dutch midfielder Frenkie de Jong, a player for the Blaugrana side. The match ended with Barcelona being crowned champions, despite the numerical disadvantage they suffered in it. The closing minutes after de Jong was shown a straight red card for a challenge on Kylian Mbappé. The incident occurred in the 90th minute of the match, when de Jong attempted to recover the ball from Mbappé, but ended up making contact with the French forward's knee. The referee did not hesitate to show a straight red card, a decision that was backed by the VAR officiating team, with no intervention to overturn it. Text of Munuera Montero's referee report. The Spanish newspaper Mundo Deportivo reported that Munuera Montero explained the reason for this severe decision in his official match report, writing, "The player was sent off for the following reason: making a challenge against an opponent using excessive force while contesting the ball. This legal classification in the referee's report determines the path of the sanction that will be imposed by the Competition Committee of the Royal Spanish Football Federation. The expected sanction according to the Spanish Federation's regulations. According to Article 131 of the Disciplinary Code regarding straight red cards, Frenkie de Jong will face a suspension of at least one match. Given that the action occurred while contesting the ball and did not cause a serious injury to the opponent, it is expected that the committee will apply the minimum punishment. Even if the play is classified as violent conduct under Article 30, the presence of the ball as an element of the action reduces the sanction to a range of 1 to 3 matches. And since there was no injury, the trend points toward a suspension of just one match. The matches de Jong will miss. According to Article 56 of the Disciplinary Code, the sanction resulting from the Super Cup must be served in the team's next official matches, regardless of the competition. As a result, Frenkie de Jong's situation will be as follows. Absence in the Cup. De Jong will not be able to take part in Barcelona's next match against Racing de Santander this coming Thursday in the round of 32 of the Copa del Rey. Return in the league. The Dutch midfielder will be available to the coach for the team's match against Real Sociedad next Sunday in Anoeta, corresponding to the league. Raphinha responds to Perez and confirms his dominance in El Clasico. The Brazilian Raphinha Diaz continues to write new chapters of brilliance in a Barcelona shirt after leading his team to victory in the Spanish Super Cup in Lleida, confirming that he is one of the most decisive players in El Clasico in recent years, and even a favorite of Real Madrid president Florentino Perez himself. Raphinha, named man of the match in the final, was the key to Barcelona's title after scoring 2 decisive goals against their eternal rival, reaffirming his remarkable superiority over Real Madrid under the direction of Hans Flick. The winger from Porto Alegre won every Clasico he played under the German coach, scoring 7 goals in 5 matches, numbers that reflect his decisive presence in the biggest occasions. Raphinha responds to Florentino Perez. Florentino Perez does not hide his admiration for the Brazilian, as on more than one occasion he has stated in his close circle that Raphinha is his favorite Barcelona player, even ahead of young talents like Lamine Yamal and Pedri. The Super Cup final came to lend new credibility to these statements, after Raphinha was the hero of the title that was added to the Catalan club's trophy cabinet. Since the arrival of Hans Flick, Raphinha has become an indispensable piece in Barcelona's system. He has played 5 Clásicos, won all of them, and appeared on the score sheet in almost all of them, except in the Copa del Rey final. He scored in the historic 4-0 victory, netted a brace in last season's Super Cup final, repeated the double in the league, and closed the series with another brace in the final in Lleida. Flick praised his player after the title, considering him an extension of himself on the pitch, and said, "He has a fantastic mentality, he's very dynamic, and has a direct impact on the team. He missed one chance and then scored another, and that gave him confidence. He transmits enthusiasm onto the field." The celebration scene reflected his status within the team. Raphinha stood alone facing the bench, clenching his fists, before Flick approached to hug and kiss him, in an image that sums up the relationship of trust between the coach and his player. The secret behind Raphinha's celebration with the glasses. The Brazilian celebrated in his own way, wearing his lucky glasses, which have become a trademark in title-winning moments, confessing with a smile, "I love them. Maybe there's some superstition to them." Raphinha's numbers show that it goes beyond luck. After an exceptional season in which he scored 34 goals and provided 24 assists in 50 matches, this campaign he continued his progression with 11 goals and 4 assists in 17 appearances, with a notable improvement in his scoring average, going from 1 goal every 137 minutes to 1 every 100 minutes. His recent brilliance has put him back on the radar of several European clubs that tried to sign him in previous transfer windows, but Raphinha remains committed to Barcelona's project, reaffirming his constant ambition to win titles. After receiving the Man of the Match award, he stated, "Wearing this shirt means winning titles, and we will always fight for them. There is always room for improvement." Thus, Raphinha continues to consolidate his status as one of Barcelona's leaders on the pitch, a decisive weapon in El Clasico, a constantly evolving player, becoming a nightmare for Real Madrid and the favorite of its president. An unexpected comment from Messi about Barcelona's Super Cup victory and what Mbappé did. At a moment when feelings of pride mixed with calm and victory with responsibility, Lionel Messi's comment on Barcelona's triumph in the Spanish Super Cup carried more than one message. And it was far deeper than a simple passing congratulation or an emotional joy over another victory added to the history of the club that forged his name and filled his heart. Messi, accustomed to speaking little and saying a lot, observed what happened with the gaze of a legend who lived every detail of this duel and knows that El Clasico is not just a match, but culture, identity, and inherited values. Messi saw in Barcelona's victory a new confirmation that this club, no matter how names change and generations succeed one another, possesses a spirit that does not break. The triumph was not simply another title in the trophy cabinet, but a clear message that Barcelona does not live off the past or feed only on memories, but builds its present with confidence and lays the foundations for a future consistent with its history. For Messi, this achievement reflects collective work, respect for the idea, and the conviction of the players that the shirt itself implies the responsibility to win before any individual name. Messi lingered on the meaning of winning Clasico matches, considering that facing Real Madrid is always a test of mental state before being a purely technical exam. Here, victory is not measured only by goals, but by the ability to endure, the commitment, and the personality the team shows in difficult moments. From this perspective, Messi believed that Barcelona passed the test, not only because it won, but because it maintained its identity, played its own way, and respected its rival without renouncing its ambition. But Messi's comment did not stop on the pitch. It extended beyond the final whistle, where certain attitudes generated widespread controversy in the sporting world. In that context, Messi appeared with his usual image, the serene leader who does not attack people but defends values. For him, football is greater than a moment of anger and more noble than a reaction born of frustration. He pointed out at the core of his message that the traditions of the game are not a burden for the loser, but an honor that reflects the greatness of the great. Messi, who has walked through many guard of honors, both as a winner and a loser, knows well that it is those moments that build a player's image in collective memory, not just the number of goals. Respect for the opponent, in his view, is worth no less than lifting a trophy, perhaps it even equals it. Because titles are forgotten over time, but attitudes remain, are told, and are taught to future generations. From this perspective, Messi considered what happened after the match to be regrettable, not because it was directed against Barcelona, but because it damages the image of the competition itself. El Clasico, as he conceives it, must continue to be a noble rivalry, whose results are decided on the field and whose page is closed off it with sportsmanship worthy of the greatness of both clubs. He stated that Barcelona, throughout its history, has been and continues to be an example of respect for the rival, both in victory and in defeat, and that gives him a double sense of pride in belonging to this institution. Regarding Kylian Mbappe's behavior, Messi addressed it with the mindset of a player who has already lived through everything. He did not turn the matter into a personal attack nor question the value of a talented footballer, but he underlined that true greatness is not measured only by speed or goals, but by attitudes in sensitive moments. He hinted that a great player is one who knows how to lose before knowing how to win, because defeat is an ethical test as much as a technical one. Messi considered that these kinds of situations represent harsh but necessary lessons, especially for players who carry the media spotlight on their shoulders. Example, in his opinion, is not built with words but with actions, and every gesture by a great star automatically becomes a message. whether they want it to or not. That is why the responsibility is double, because the world is watching and new generations are learning. In closing his comment, Messi returned to speaking about Barcelona with the spirit of a lover, not just a former player. He said, in essence, that what truly makes him happy is not the victory itself, but the manner, the spirit, and the commitment to the values in which he was formed within the club. For him, Barcelona is not a team that wins today and loses tomorrow, but a school that shapes players before champions and teaches respect before teaching how to score goals. That was Lionel Messi's comment, serene, deep, and loaded with implicit messages. A comment that does not seek controversy, but to put things in their proper context. A victory to be celebrated, behaviors to be debated, and values that must stand above all. Because football, as Messi sees it, is not just a game played with the feet, but a culture built with the mind and preserved with respect.